Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bourbon Basement. I'm Ryan, as always.
I'm Steve.
Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. It's not going to be your normal tasting, so I don't know exactly what to put the title of this episode, but we're gonna roll with it and cross the bridge as we go. This is going to be completely ad lib. Nothing's really planned. It's
Not a
been
not a lot of history
it's
today.
been thrown together, but not thrown together in a way. We had an idea of what we wanted to do just because of all the stuff that's been going on with your birthday and whatnot. So happy belated to my father.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully, it was a good bourbon-filled week
It's 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 been something. I've been celebrating birthday
for
for
a
a week
week.
now. It's been crazy. I've
A
never had a
week.
birthday like this. I've had a bunch of good birthdays, and last year was a good one too. That last year was 50, so 51. I didn't think much was going to go on,
You
but
thought it was going to wind down a little bit because last year he
oh
did have a
yeah,
big birthday last year,
it's
but
big
this
big time. I mean, everything from Top Golf and Louisville, but Louisville twice actually overnights, doing some different stuff. Give a shout out to the Prohibition Ghost and Tasting Tour. Uh, did that for my birthday, on my birthday. I met some good people. Hopefully they're watching today. Send us some comments or some questions about anything you got going on. Uh, but right, what I wanted to do today. So yesterday, big day. Uh, we had our tasting here at the Bourbon Basement, right?
the Bourbon Basement was officially open for uh, public, but not public. It was a family public
Family.
event,
It
but
was my family. My family came over to
on his
celebrate
side.
my birthday, and we all enjoy drinking bourbon. And it was kind of it's fun for me to always set those up. I took some pictures and stuff and sent it to them and said, "Hey, everybody, pick five of these, and I guarantee you get at least one in your tasting." Uh, and it was kind of fun. Fun for me. I think it was fun for them because when they do their tasting, they don't know what they're tasting. And after they give it all scores and decided which one they like the best, that's when I tell them what they were drinking. And then sometimes they're shocked, sometimes they're not. Uh,
I'm just going to put this out there. I think that my tasting personally went exactly how it should have, even being blind.
and it probably did because you had a preference of what you thought you was going to like, and it happened to be
It
exactly
happened to be
what you liked,
exactly what I liked.
although you didn't know what you were going to taste. So you see a lot of bottles sitting here. What we're going to do is this was what we had in our tasting, and I'll explain it a little bit, and I'll just go through one by one. I didn't prepare a lot of history. I've got some note sheets wrote down, so I might be reading off of this. But what we did, and it's kind of what I did in the tasting as well. But uh, you wanna start. I don't know how to over. I'll be over talking you a lot today, so because
You're the one that set everything up. You're the one that
I know, but
has
you want
the
to say
talking to
okay.
do. I
Uh,
was a customer.
you were, and I was the bartender and the taster and everything. But we've got several different bourbons here, so I want to go ahead and tell you guys if you have any of these bourbons, uh, go ahead and get it. Pour you a nice glass, sit down, watch as much of this episode as you can stand, and just if you have comments or questions about anything here, send it to us. We'll try to answer them on the spot. Uh, but when we started our tasting yesterday, somehow it's blind. They didn't know, but the
He had
first
them
one,
all pre-poured and whatnot.
was Bardstown uh, Origin Series. So the Bardstown Origin Series, they knew that this was 100 proof and it was bottled in bond. They didn't know the rest of it. So it's Bardstown Bourbon Company. It's the Origin Series. It's 100 proof bottled in bond. I actually got this one at the distillery. I think it was about $50-$55 there at the distillery. So that just gives y'all price range.
Another thing to add real quick, he made it a lot more difficult on us as far as the actual tasting went because these are all 100 proof. So they all were made 100 proof. It didn't,
There was no scale where you went up to like a barrel proof or nothing.
and you could tell that it was stronger just by the. These were all very similar as far
I
as
did make 100 proof tasting. Now you can look at this right here and you can say, well, that ain't 100 proof, but I can explain. So just stick with us till the end and you'll find out.
there's not going to be a lot of history, but it's going to be an
Yeah.
info pack
So
episode.
the Bardstown Origin Series, it was 28% corn. I'm sorry, 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. It is a 6-year Kentucky straight bourbon. Some of the notes that they say you should get are smoky, charred bourbon with notes of caramelizing corn, grapefruit and lemon peels, brown sugar, cinnamon, toasted wheat bread. But Bardstown, this does feature locally sourced Kentucky corn and wheat, so that was pretty interesting. It's not allocated, and it's found in many stores. And like I said, I bought it at the distillery. Now, so when we did this, a lot of people tasted the caramel. You got some of the citrusy fruits.
Yes, it was
that it had.
fruity to me.
And I know cinnamon and oak and stuff like that was tasted. So most people, I've got everybody's scorecards right here.
We
and
got a little
I'm going
bit
to
of,
tell you, I don't know how well if my tasters are watching today. I don't know how well they looked at this, because I'm really surprised about one score, and it's my brother's. Because I don't think he knows which one he picked. But actually, him and his son-in-law thought this was the best one according to the scores on y'all's score sheet.
And that was the first one that we tasted, right?
It was the very first one we tasted, and the way they scored it. So it did get a 72, so there was a possible 100 stars from everybody that was grading these. We had one also, my father was in here, non-bourbon drinker, did the tasting with us. So we've got a scale of people that like bourbon a lot and people that never drink bourbon. But anyway, so the scale was 100 stars. This one got 72 out of 100. It did real well, and it was selected by 2 guys as their number 1 bourbon out of this tasting.
Which is surprising to me.
Now, they didn't know the others that they had tasted, but that's the one.
And that set the precedent, because that was...
Which is what I like. I think if you tell somebody, hey, we're drinking Colonel E.H. Taylor, you're going to think, oh, that's supposed to be really good. That's an allocated bourbon. It's going to be good. And you've got that it's going to be good on your mind. So when you drink it, it's good.
Sometimes that's a good thing, though, instead of going in blind. But the blind thing definitely adds a certain twist. Because I hate going into it and knowing that I like a bourbon and then going blind and being like, maybe I don't like this bourbon anymore. It puts a different thought in your mind.
I don't think that... I think if any of the guys that were here yesterday had these bourbons, I think it had been so long ago that they probably couldn't remember what they tasted like. They weren't daily drinkers to everybody. So even if they did have the bourbon, they wouldn't be able to say, oh, that's Colonel E.H. Taylor right there. Because they just don't drink it all the time. But anyway, so Origin Series, it was a good one. I think everybody had it ranked really high on the list. But it was 72 out of 100. And just another, it was actually overall with all the testers, it was actually third. But 2 people picked it as first. So it just tells you how close the star ratings were for these bourbons. Because, again, to your point, we did not change proof. Right. Everything was 100 proof. All right. So do you remember which one we tried next?
It was the red. Oh, gosh. Seriously?
Sorry.
That's been there for the entirety.
Sorry, everyone. I knocked the mic down. All right.
That has been in the same spot every episode.
I hit it every episode. If you go back and watch them, I'm smacking it all the time.
Well, bow.
We're going to have to move it or permanently mount it or something.
This was McKenna, wasn't it?
Yes. So you want to show them that bottle. So this is the Henry McKenna. It's a 10-year-old single barrel produced by Heaven Hill. Also 100 proof, bottled in bond. All right. This one they said should be, Henry McKenna, they tout that they are the longest aged bottle and bond bourbon that there is at 10 years. The minimum for a bottled and bond is 4 years. So every bottled and bond bourbon is going to be 100 proof, and it's going to be a minimum of 4 years. Okay. They tout that they're the longest at 10 years. Yeah. You probably need to move back in this way, our producer says. If you want to slide your computer,
I don't want the computer in frame. I'm struggling to get some stuff squared away. That's why I'm over there so much this episode.
People don't mind seeing the computer. Put it in there. We want to see you. We want to see that handsome face of yours. All right. So now Henry McKenna was a 78% corn, 12% rye, and 10% malted barley. They tasting notes on it was oak, sharp spices, honey, and sweetness.
I don't know if I got much sweetness out of that
I
one.
think most people had the spiciness in it. They thought that one had a lot of burn.
I'm trying to remember exactly what I thought.
For 100 proof, I didn't think it was the smoothest. All of these, by the way, have a very thick chew.
The consistency of them was very nice. You got really nice tears and stuff coating the glass and running down. They were all very nice, pleasant to look at. And I think I gave them all 4 out of 5 stars on appearance, just because they all had about the same color. They all had the same consistency in the glass. And I think that I rated all of them 4 out of 5 on appearance.
A lot of similarities in the bourbons. Visually, a lot of similarities with the nose, I think. So the taste, the smoothness and the taste and the finish, I think that's where most people judged them the harshest or the best. But anyway, this one here, they may have got a little sweet, but most of the spices stood out on this one. It is an allocated bourbon. I told them a story that I was disappointed in because I bought this at an allocated. Is it allocated or allocated? I don't know how I've been saying it. Allocated. I bought this at an allocated price, which later, about 2 weeks after I purchased mine, I saw them on like every store shelf, just not even behind the counter or nothing, just out on the shelves for like $80. And I paid over $100. I paid over $100 for mine.
Hey, you live and you learn.
Yeah,
you live and you learn.
At a liquor store in Lexington, a big one.
That's the only time you've made that mistake, though, because the rest you've gotten some good deals on a lot of these others.
Yeah, I have. But so I think I overpaid for it. It only got, well, I say only, it got 68 out of 100 stars. It wasn't anyone's favorite, and it actually tied for 4th. All right, so 68.
You seem to enjoy it, though, because you went back for that one afterwards. Unless you were just trying to
maybe I just know how much it was, and I was like, I better drink some more.
Drink this.
I did like it. This one was my second favorite. My second favorite.
Where I had that one right.
I think it was Gene Boy's 3rd, my brother's 3rd, but my second favorite. So I did enjoy it, and I went back for more. But overall, it got 68 out of 100. Score sheets again, guys.
So, it was second.
And gals.
That was second on mine.
See, it got second on mine. It got second on yours. I think it got 3rd on Gene's. I think it was last on Dad's.
Maybe I like this one. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
So anyway, but it got 68 out of 100. It was good. It wasn't anybody's favorite, though. So the Henry McKenna.
It smells
you remember
very
what
sweet.
the 3rd one was? And once again, I'm going to offer you all to go get a glass, sit down. We will be tasting a bourbon today, and we'll talk about it.
It just won't be one of these.
I'm just getting our tasting out because it meant a lot to me, everybody coming and doing that, and I love to do that.
And both times we've done it twice now, and it's been a fun time each time we've done it.
I love it. I love to do it. It's one of my favorite days. It's all I asked for my birthday, but I got so much more for my birthday.
A whole week's worth.
It was incredible. I mean, we went top golfing. We went on bourbon tours. We did. It was just an incredible thing. And I never even take off for my birthday. And I was off 4 days last week. I took 4 vacation days last week.
Burn them up.
That was incredible as well. Anyway, do you remember the 3rd one that we? That
was Rebel.
It was pretty much everybody's least favorite.
Yeah, that's definitely Rebel then.
And this.
That being said, none of them were bad.
No, they were all very good.
They were all good.
I even liked the Rebel. Why did people not like? I think it was the finish. I think the finish was harsh,
harsher than the others, even being the same proof.
Yeah.
It didn't. I don't know. I'm trying to remember.
So the Rebel's produced by Lux Row. It is an allocated bourbon. I did get that Rebel. It's a 10-year-old, 100 proof, single barrel. I did get it at Lux Row when we toured the distillery. I think it cost me $99 there. So it was $100 bourbon. It's 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. The tastings are caramel, citrus, and spice.
Spice, yes. I don't know if I got citrus
I
out
think
of that one.
I think most people said it had spice, had a good flavor in the mouth. The nose was good, but when they finished, the finish was harsh.
One thing I will say that all these have in common: the nose is very sweet on all of them.
For overall, it got a 68 out of 100, so it tied for fourth.
So once again, not bad. But when you're comparing it to some of the others that we had, because
So,
we had a very nice lineup.
This was two people's favorite, got a 72 out of 100.
Yeah.
This one was
no one's favorite.
No, it was one. Then it's going to be funny who it was.
Oh, was it
Dad?
Oh,
Dad doesn't drink bourbon. All the bourbon drinkers said this is a really harsh finish. We all rated it pretty low on the finish. And my father, he drank the whole cup. He drank his cup. But it was Dad's non-bourbon drinker. It was his favorite. His favorite. I don't recommend it for newbies.
I don't recommend any of these for newbies.
I don't know. I recommend this one.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it too much bourbon?
I wouldn't recommend it 100 proof for any beginner bourbon.
But I didn't think that one. I didn't think any of these burnt really, except on the finish, a little bit of burn on this one and this one.
Let's be honest. If you're just not getting into bourbon, you're not buying any of these bottles.
No, they're probably out of your.
You're not buying
unless
any of these.
Unless you've got a lot more money than I got.
Unless you're just swimming in it, then this
one's the most affordable bottle on the table.
That was the
Origin Series,
50 something.
And I don't know how much it is at a liquor store. I got it at the distillery.
Well,
so I don't know if it's cheaper there.
Who's the signature from on
it? That's the master distiller. He's in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
So we got a Hall of Fame master distiller autograph.
Is it Steve?
I can't read it.
I think it's Steve McNally.
If any of you out there have ever heard of him,
but he is in the Hall of Fame. When Bardstown opened their distillery, and when I do another Bardstown, when they opened their distillery, he was like the first guy that they hired. They wanted somebody that knew what they was doing. Met him that day at the distillery at the tour. He's in the gift shop a lot. Signed a lot of bottles. I was actually going to buy another bottle, but it didn't have his signature, and he had already left, so I bought one with the signature on it.
Buy the one.
Yeah. Anyway, and I think I'm online. I found online Rebel. Online, I found this from $108 to $400 a bottle.
Oof.
Yeah, I paid $99 for it at the store.
Hey, cheaper than anything you found online.
Well, Lux
$100.
Row, they have some allocated bourbons on their shelves daily. All right. I don't know. I don't even know how long this episode's going to take. I'm trying to get through these pretty quick.
I don't think we're making bad time.
Well, I don't know. All right. So the fourth one we did, Rod, do you want to talk about it? You can read it. That's all I'm doing.
I mean, this is definitely my personal favorite. We got E.H. Taylor. This is one that I was excited for him to try. I wish he would have. Well, you knew what you were trying, right?
I did know what
you knew it. You were trying. We didn't.
But I'm unbiased.
I was very excited for him to try this one because this is one of my favorite bourbons.
I didn't know what I was trying because you remember we had a person that didn't show up, so I had mine poured back here, and I turned this way, so I actually traded 2.
And you did them all backwards.
I traded 2 with 4. 1 and 3 was the same, but 2 and 4 switched because they were reversed to me. So maybe I actually drank this is 2, and this was everybody else's fourth one, but it was my second one. So when I graded 2, but anyway, number 2 was my favorite. Number 4 was his favorite, but it ended up being Colonel E.H. Taylor.
And like I said, this is one that I was very excited for him to try. This is one of my favorite bourbons that I've had to date. This one is very high ranking on my list. Colonel E.H. Taylor, 100 proof, bottled in bond. And your handwriting is horrible. How do you read this?
It's a 7-year Kentucky straight bourbon.
7-year Kentucky straight bourbon, Buffalo Trace, small batch. It's made of 80% corn, 10% rye, and 10% malted barley. sweet caramel corn, butterscotch, licorice. I don't get licorice out
I
of it.
didn't get licorice. I did have the caramel corn.
Subtle spices, pepper, and tobacco.
I got some pepper. I got some.
Gene Boy said that he felt the tobacco of it.
Yeah, that's cool. And he would know. He used to do tobacco.
And this is obviously an allocated bourbon. Purchased at distillery for.
Listen to this.
So purchased at the distiller for $55. That I'm gonna tell you without even knowing, reading the rest of it. That's a good deal on this bottle.
So Buffalo Trace, they put an allocated bourbon out once a day. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can only buy one every 3 months. If you get lucky enough and E.H. Taylor's on the shelf when you go, you buy it for $55. If you don't get it at Buffalo Trace Distillery and you try to get it at a liquor store somewhere around here, it's definitely over $150 a bottle.
120 to 300 is what we got written down.
That's what I found online. But this one at my local liquor store, $159.95 or something like that. But I did get it at the distillery there in Frankfort, Buffalo Trace, $55. It actually scored a 73 out of 100. So 73 out of 100, that was 1 star more than the Bardstown Origin Series.
And that's probably because I gave it 4s across the board and a 5 on taste.
But that was second overall. And it was mine and yours favorite. Yeah. Now, the last one we're going to talk about, that's the one we're going to taste.
It's a hybrid.
I know you all see 2 extra bottles sitting here, and you're like, well, is he going to drink Weller Antique 107 or is he going to drink Weller 12? Well, guess what? We're going to mix them, and we're going to drink them both, and it's called Poor Man's Pappy.
Now, let's just get this out of the way real quick. Poor Man's Pappy. If you're thinking about Pappy, you know that it's very expensive. So I guess, in a way, this is the Poor Man's Pappy, but this is still going to run you, I mean, for the 2...
It wasn't cheap.
For the 2
it
bottles. It ain't
Poor Man's.
For the 2 bottles, what'd you say, 400?
My wife's sitting there, man. What are you trying to do to me?
You've been saying the prices of the rest of them. So, I mean, for these 2 bottles, you're looking around $400.
All right. So they're both allocated bottles. You can't go to the distillery and get them. You have to wait for them to come up on the shelf. If you were to get these at MSRP, you're looking at $65 and $55. So I can understand that would be Poor Man's Pappy. $65 for the 12, $55 for the Antique 107, which is, I would love to get them for MSRP.
Right.
I would probably buy them all the time.
You'll never find these for MSRP.
All right. So I missed out on the MSRP at the liquor barn there in Lexington. I missed them by a week. He said they just sold out of them, and I said, well, how much was the bottles? He said $65, and I said, you're kidding me. He said, no, we sell them for $65, and I said, crazy.
So if you got them for that price, it would be Poor Man's Pappy.
It would be Poor Man's Pappy.
But if you're looking at normal pricing,
so
no.
If you have Pappy Van Winkle, please
share some.
Hey, let's go ahead and you can compare it to our Poor Man's Pappy and what we talk about.
If you have some 23-year, mail it to us. We love to share some with
10-year, it doesn't matter, right?
If it's Pappy Van Winkle, we want it.
I will tell you all this. So for my birthday, my wife wanted to take me out to Louisville. We went out. We did some bourbon tours. We had a good time. She wanted me to get a shot of Pappy.
I think you should have.
And I was going to. And I was prepared to. I was going to pay that money for a shot of Pappy. For an ounce and a half pour, it was going to be like $240. And that was the 20-year. I couldn't even find the 23-year. But instead of doing that, guys, and anybody out there viewing can thank me later, I said, you know what, babe? I don't want to spend that kind of money on one shot. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy some bottles of bourbon. Oh, just for the Bourbon Basement and all our viewers, so I can share with you guys.
And did he ever buy some bottles?
I bought some bottles of bourbon. So on the Poor Man's Pappy, though, just to talk about it a little bit.
Pause. We have a comment.
All right.
Before you get started, how'd you figure out how to make the Poor Man's Pappy?
Okay, so
where'd you hear about this and that it was even a thing?
All right, so we did the distillery tour there at Buffalo Trace, and I don't know if y'all have noticed or not, but I'm a talker. And
he can yap a bit.
I'm pretty. When I know you, I can talk your shoes off. When I don't know you, or if it's a big crowd, I pull back a little bit. But
No, as
if
long as
it's something I'm very interested
I was
in.
about to say, if it's a subject that he knows something about and is really intrigued in, he can, yeah.
So anyway, I talked to the people that work there. We did the tour. I talked to anybody and everybody. I talked to the guy. If I see him putting stuff in the barrel, I'm going to ask him what he knows
What's he
about
doing?
bourbon. Hey, where's the pappy at? They won't tell you. They laugh it off like it ain't even made there. But it's at Buffalo Trace, boys, and it's in a secret warehouse, and it's up there, and that's where they keep it. Anyway, so I talked to them.
Conspiracy.
I talked to them about all that stuff, and they said. So I had a couple of different people. We've been there more than once, not always on a tour, but we've been there more than once. And I talked to a couple of them, and they said, "Run and get one of those right there."
Green labels.
Yeah, because that one's the one you can get at the. All right, so this is the Weller Special Reserve. This is one of the allocated bourbons that Buffalo Trace does put on the shelf. You can get that bottle at Buffalo Trace for about $45. Out in the world of liquor stores, it's about $100. But anyway, I'm getting this, so I'm rambling. Anyway, that bottle right there, the Weller Special Reserve, they said if you want a bottle of bourbon that tastes similar to Pappy, same recipe, same recipe, same recipe, same recipe. All the Wellers and Pappies share the same recipe.
It's just aging and warehouse positioning.
And the recipe to that is 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley. All right. So they all share the same recipe. Now, what did you say? What the difference is?
The only difference is aging years and warehouse positioning.
That's it.
That's all the difference is.
Pappies age longer.
A lot longer.
And they keep it, like I said, it is in a special warehouse, and they just have a special plates for it and all that stuff. Anyway, so they told me that that's the closest thing you can get to Pappy on a shelf anywhere. It was the Weller Special Reserve. But then I start doing a little bit more research, and somebody there told me too, hey, if you get your hands on a Weller 12 and an Antique 107, he said, combine them, and that'll give you, he said, that's the closest thing I've ever tasted to Pappy. And they called it Poor Man's Pappy.
It was 3 ounces of the Antique and 2 ounces of the 12.
That's exactly right. That's how it says it's a 2 to 3 ratio. So I did 2 ounces, 3 ounces. I doubled it because I was doing it for our tasting. So, but after talking to them, I come home and I just looked up on the internet, Googled Poor Man's Pappy, and recipes right there tells you how to make it.
Place.
So then it was
a big thing.
Then it was getting the bottles and finding the bottles because I wanted to do that for this tasting. So I found the bottles. Now, I will tell you all something that I'm extremely disappointed
and
about.
I was going to mention that
with Buffalo Trace.
I was going to mention that if you didn't.
This is Weller 12-year-old bourbon. Now, I just told you the MSRP is $65. That's fine. Okay? I've got
but liquor store
Hold
price.
on now. I've got $20 bottles. I've got $15 bottles of bourbon back here that got a cork. This is a $65
dollar bottle
of bourbon. All right? But if I bought this in a store, they're like $300, which I did buy it in a store. And I won't say that I paid $300, but that's how much they are. And it doesn't even have a stinking cork.
It's a screw top, ladies and gents.
It's shocking.
It's a screw top.
I thought somebody had counterfeited this thing.
This Antique 107 next to it
got a cork. Got a cork.
I think those are screw tops as well.
Yes, the special reserves are.
The special reserves are, but they're a cheap bottle.
Well, they're a $45 bottle, but they're a $100 bottle out in the liquor store.
Well,
they're a $45 bottle at Buffalo Trace.
We'll be doing Buffalo Trace. I mean,
a little disappointed. Put a cork in this thing.
You like this stuff more than your regular Buffalo Trace, and you're putting a cork in Buffalo Trace, but you're not putting a cork in Weller.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. And if anybody else buys a bottle of this and they pay the $300 or whatever to get it, be disappointed too. We need to get a cork in that thing.
Putting it out there, guys. You're probably going to have to pay the liquor store price. You're not going to find them at MSRP.
You can get so this is part of the Weller Antique Collection. Buffalo Trace puts it out every fall, and most stores that get it will sell them as a unit. I think there's 7 different bottles of Weller. They have them all in there. They usually have raffles. They
So you
usually
could
have
get
raffles
lucky.
for it. So you could get lucky,
We're
win
not
the
those
raffle,
people.
and then buy all 7 of these bottles. And that's probably the cheapest way you're gonna find them. If you have to buy them separate, like I did for these 2,
Make them last.
but anyway, so
Having said that, we
poor
drank
man's
half of this
Pappy.
bottle last night.
So it was a 107 proof, of course, and this was. See if you see the proof on there.
90.
90. So I
Same as
said
Woodford.
it's 100 proof. That's how I put that as 100 proof. 107 proof, 90 proof. I guess it's really 97 proof. No. But it is made by Buffalo Trace. I estimated this as a 10-year-old bourbon because this one is 12 and that one is 7 to 8 years old. They are 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley. You're supposed to get a taste of brown sugar, maple syrup, honey, baking spices, cinnamon and nutmeg, dark chocolate, espresso, and oak. I got the MSRP around here about $400 because
2 bottles.
Because you can't find these available anywhere. They're allocated. And I said, I'm not sure, but might as well be. Weller can't be found at stores.
Allocated.
Dang it. I'll get it. Anyway, our score on this was a 76 out of 100.
So it was the best one out of all of them.
It scored the highest stars, but it wasn't any individual's highest rank.
I think that's almost better.
So
to have it so evenly spread across the board, but not be anyone's favorite and still win.
So it got number 1 overall star ratings, but it wasn't anybody's. Like they didn't score it the highest to be the favorite.
If this is really what Pappy tastes like,
it's good.
I look forward to trying it if I ever have the opportunity.
On a couple of the scorecards, it was tied with their favorite, so I guess they just looked and maybe the flavor of the finish was higher on their favorite, so they took that one instead of the other one. But
I really think that it being so spread across the board is better than it being someone's favorite and then putting it in first place.
So in this decanter here, this is what we have left of the poor man's Pappy. That's what we're going to drink today.
Just what we had mixed up.
You want to just move these back and get them out of the way?
Yeah. Oh, now I don't know if I'm supposed to mention this right now, but eventually, once everything, he's really been doing a lot of work down here in the Bourbon Basement, especially in all the days off that he's had for his birthday.
Remodel.
We're going to be doing a full Bourbon Basement tour, not just the background you see here. This is obviously the main part of the Bourbon Basement. But we're going to be doing a full tour to actually showcase some of the things that we're seeing that you all aren't, because I think it needs to be shown. Just to put into perspective how much work he actually does put in down here.
Thank you,
he does be putting in the work, and it looks very nice. I think to everyone that came over from our family, because they hadn't seen the Bourbon Basement since our last tasting that we did, it's basically gone through a full makeover. I don't think anything was the same other than this.
Not from our last tasting. Everything had changed.
But he was running out of space for his bourbons, so we have. I say we. He has decided to go and get shelves, and he has crafted things to actually set bourbon on it. I think it's looking very, very nice. So once that actually gets squared away and finished up, and he's comfortable with showing it, then we'll do a full Bourbon Basement tour for you all. I think you all enjoy that.
That's a great idea.
I think that you're going to be impressed with what you see, that we see behind the camera, that you all don't have the opportunity. But as always, this is the Bourbon Basement. This is our Bourbon Basement bar. So this is exactly where we need to be.
This is the Bourbon Basement. This is background.
It's the Bourbon Basement.
All right. So,
it can't be the Bourbon Basement without bourbon in a basement.
Well, I mean, we're you're right.
No spaces.
Where did the Bourbon Basement? No spaces.
What are you looking for?
I was looking for the coffee. I was going to clear my nose. I was going to let you have it. Get us one.
It's right there.
All right. So back to the tastings.
This is Poor Man's Pappy. This is 3 ounces of the Antique 107 Weller and 2 ounces of the Weller 12.
Mixed together. They said you can mix it. It can do it instantly. Recommended that you let it set at least a week to 10 days. I had mine setting in that decanter probably 3 weeks, so it should be as close as it can get to Pappy.
It was mixed.
But anyway, so we're going to do a tasting of Poor Man's Pappy today. We're going to do it just like we always do. If you have Pappy, grab it, pour you a small glass.
Or if you have Weller 12
or any of the Wellers. If you have just a straight old Jim Beam and you want to drink with somebody today,
Kentucky gentlemen, grab that
right now's the day to drink. We'll walk you through a tasting, and once we get that tasting done, we'll tell you how we feel about it. It takes a while for them tears to form because it is pretty thick. But we did talk about this already. We enjoyed the color very much. The color on all the bourbons we had yesterday was all very nice.
They were almost identical.
This is an amber color. It's dark. It's
thick.
It's pretty.
It's syrupy. It's a very nice, enjoyable thing to have.
Right. You want to tell them about the tasting? What to do next?
As always, guys, or if you're tuning in for the first time, we're gonna do a first sip after we get our nose. Can you pick? So I don't know if we really went in depth with as far as aromas and picking out stuff.
We didn't. I gave a brief thing, and I told what the experts said you would taste, and then I kind of just said, yeah, we tasted this or we didn't taste it.
This is mapley to me. It's a sweety, mapley, nutty nose.
A maple nut goodie?
A maple nut nose.
I do smell the maple.
The maple and the
oak. Maple syrup, and of course you always got the oak and the smoke, and but it's very pleasant.
It's so
it
nice.
All blends well, and it's not hard on your nose. There's no burning in your nose or in your throat when you do that. No. It's just a real smooth smell.
So we were averaging this out to 100, right? Between the two, because the 12 was a 90. What was the 107?
It was a 107. Antique 107.
107 makes sense. Whatever.
I guess it would really be like a 98 or something.
So around 100 proof, and considering that the burn to your nose and stuff, you don't get smacked in the face.
Now I don't have Pappy, so I don't know what the proof on a Pappy is. If y'all have a Pappy and you got a proof,
hey, drop it in the comment section.
Let us know what the proof on Pappy is. All right, I'm going in for my first one.
So first sip's going to be your acclimation. With a 100 proof or a higher proof bourbon, that acclimation is very important if you don't want to not enjoy the rest of your drinking experience with this glass. But acclimation, trying to get the burn out of the way, just coating our mouths with it, and as far as 100 proof, there's not much burn at all.
Ain't much burn. Got a little bit more than I did yesterday, because yesterday it was our fifth one. So I didn't need any acclimation. But we don't judge on the first or the second, do we?
Now,
always judge on the third.
When we say it was our last one yesterday and we did 5, don't let the judgment be swayed just because we had been drinking. This is a very good.
Well, we're doing it again. And yesterday, a tasting is a tasting. They weren't big shots. They were minor shots.
Ounce pours.
They were very, very light. I told anybody we did on the bar, though, so if they needed more, they could have it. Nobody asked for more, so they were plenty for the tasting.
It was an open tab that never got closed out. All right. Second one's going to be another acclimation sip. Just finishing off that little bit of burn, so the third sip that we can actually start deciphering some of these flavors that we're going to pull out of here.
Now I'll do something that I don't normally do again. I'll tell you all not to look at what the experts say before you do.
We did it the whole time yesterday.
But we did it yesterday. This one, you should be getting sweet caramel corn, butterscotch, licorice, subtle spices, and pepper and tobacco. So we're just going to go through today, and we're going to see if we can pull.
That's not the right one. You just read. I heard tobacco. I was like, you're reading EH.
Yeah. So this one here, you're supposed to
scratch that, guys.
Supposed to get brown sugar, maple syrup, honey, baking spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, dark chocolate, espresso, and oak.
I thought the espresso was this.
Well, so there you go. So anyway, knowing that we're going to go through today, and I'm just going to look for these to see if I can find them.
Well, I've
And
already got the syrup.
I know I get the syrup. I know I get the spices and the cinnamon. Unfortunately, I always get the cinnamon.
Let's not start on the cinnamon again. Does that need to be one of those things where we just assume that you taste cinnamon? You don't have to say it.
And the oak, you know I'm going to get.
See,
that.
I don't say the oak and stuff anymore because that's every bourbon that I've had. I got a lot more oak on that one. I will say that.
I do get the oak. I don't taste the espresso. I can't even looking for espresso. I can't get espresso.
The
out of it.
espresso was nose, but I thought that I was catching with the coffee beans.
So you got it in the nose though.
I'm getting the syrup still on the mouth.
I don't get any nutmeg.
I'm not. Well, I don't know if it. I don't think I'm getting the nutmeg, but I'm getting the spices. That
You
they're
get the
talking
baking
about.
spices.
Yeah.
I get the baking spices.
A little peppery.
I get the cinnamon. I'm not tasting honey in it. I think the maple syrupy
is
taste
overpowering it.
takes the honey. I think that's where I'm getting my sweetness from. I'm
Yeah.
not getting the sweetness from honey. But can you pull brown sugar out of it? I'm gonna add. This is distiller's water here. Usually on the fourth one, we'll add a drop or two of distiller's. He might add more. I don't have very much, so I'm only gonna add 2 drops.
I think you poured me more.
Well, unfortunately, I should have took that one.
Yeah. Here.
No,
you want
too
a little
late.
douse?
Thanks, Rye. You're a great sharer. I raised him well.
Don't let that drop fall. You did.
I didn't. Where'd it go? All right. So I'm going to go in with my water one and see what that's like.
Maybe I get brown sugar out of.
My producer's saying something and I can't really pick it out. She needs to. Oh. I said I raised him well. When to be a sharer, she goes, I raised him well. She was a stay-at-home mother, and she did a great job of raising both our children.
I'm going
and
5 drops.
She helped greatly with our nieces and nephews.
And her head swells to the size of this room.
No,
the Bourbon Basement.
She was a very good mother. And
the Bourbon Basement is filled with mother's head.
I know. It changed it a lot, didn't it?
Wow.
Did we put water in it yesterday?
Yeah, I put water in all my fourths.
I don't know that I even had a fourth with it. Maybe
Wow.
I did it.
Talk about blast of sweetness.
It was very good.
Sweetness with a slightly harsher finish, but not anything crazy. You just get that little subtle Kentucky hug at the back of your throat.
That's what I was going to say.
But man, it's so sweet now with the water.
It was.
I put 5 drops in mine.
I do.
Oh, look, guys, you haven't seen these yet. We have droppers now. We're no longer using those coffee straws.
You complained last week.
I couldn't get nothing out of it.
So I ordered them like that night as soon as the episode was over.
I couldn't get nothing out of it. I found them for you.
So
I said like 20 of them.
Man, with the water, it was a lot sweeter.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I got caramel.
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 Okay, we got caramel. I'm getting caramel. I'm still getting the maple. So I'm like candy shop, like toffee apple and stuff right now.
It was good. And I know this may be faux pas or whatever if you talked about drinking Pappy with ice, but I think it made it better with a little bit of distiller's water.
Maybe just the water. I don't know about watering it that much down with ice though.
I wouldn't, because I'd pay too much for the bottle, so I wouldn't want to do it.
Well, people a lot of times put it on the rocks to take the proof down and take some of the burn off. I don't think this one has enough burn to have to worry about that.
You don't need it, do you?
No. If it was chilled a little bit, I think the coolness would be a little better, but neat is how I would drink this.
Yeah, I like it neat, but I think the water changed it. Maybe just add a little water to it.
But I thought it was so sweet before. Do you really need that extra blast of sweetness?
You don't, but it was delicious. It was
that's
delicious
just a
with
good
the water.
pour. That's
It
just
was-
a really good
It is,
pour.
and that's poor man's pappy. So if poor man's pappy, I mean that's close to pappy. I've never had pappy,
That
but if
puts
it
my
tastes,
hopes very
if
high.
it tastes that good, then I'm for it. And but if
I
ever
don't know
get a
if I'm
bottle,
for $5,000, but I'm
No.
for a shot of it or something.
no, but I am on all the email list, and maybe one day I'll get one of those raffles
You'll
or
get one of those
lotteries
raffles.
where I can purchase that for MSRP.
You get that one day.
MSRP on a 23-year pappy. Did I already tell you what it is? What do you think it is? MSRP, not what you can get it in the store.
No, it's $570 something, right?
$579.
Yeah.
So if I win that lottery to be able to purchase it, 23-year-old pappy now, guys, MSRP $579.
For $5,000.
Aftermarket price is $5,000
$5,000
for 23. Is that crazy? Stop buying it. Stop buying it for $5,000 and let people like me be able to get it. Stop buying it, and they'll quit selling it for
Or
$5,000.
no, don't stop buying it. Buy a bottle and send it to us.
Or do that. Pay $5,000, ship it. I'll pay shipping.
We love we'd love to have it.
I pay shipping.
We would treasure that bottle to the end of our time.
Well, thank you. Thank you for doing another tasting. Thank you for going through this. This was a makeshift episode.
Hopefully y'all enjoyed it though. I thought it was kind of like I said, it was thrown together but wasn't thrown together. We had a thought of what we wanted to do and thought that we would cover the basis of what we did last night and talk through what we tasted and try the poor man's pappy for you all. I'm happy to have had that for a second time because it was enjoyable the first time, obviously.
And it's out of the can.
And canter's empty now.
We're done with poor man.
for quite some time. We got to make those bottles last a
Done
little
with
bit.
poor man. All right.
Do we know what we're doing next week?
I haven't thought nothing. It's been my birthday. I haven't thought of nothing else since it's been birthday. Go, and it's been lovely.
Well, we did an expensive one this time.
You want to do one that we had the tastings on? Or do you want to do one of the other? We said we were doing open bottles.
Open bottles, but we've got a ton of them.
There is.
Let's do Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. All right.
We'll do Yellowstone next week.
I've got a bottle of Yellowstone. I think it's a single barrel.
Single barrel. One bottle of Yellowstone, single barrel. All right. We're going to be back on the normal schedule as far as I know, ladies and gents. Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless
I am on call.
Over here. Okay.
I am on call.
Well, I might have to do a solo episode. I don't know.
You may do the only tasting.
We'll have to figure it out. But as of right now, it should be Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And unless I hear differently, that's when it's going to be. All right. So hopefully y'all did go on to enjoy this little makeshift episode. Something a little different, switches it up a little bit, and we got to cover what we actually got to experience for Dad's birthday and such. And hopefully you all
thanks everybody for making it great.
Yeah, thanks to everyone that attended the tastings and
my sister taking me to Louisville, playing some Top Golf and having good dinners. My brother and family coming over here. My wife's family meeting me at a restaurant that I love and having a good time there. I just really appreciate everything everybody's done for me for my birthday. It was incredible.
I hope it was a good
my kids, my daughter, who's not around, but anyway, all right, anyway, I'll quit being sentimental.
I was about to say, glad that we're accepting a Grammy nomination or something over here. All right, guys. All that being said, hopefully y'all did go on to enjoy. Be sure to drop a like on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment saying what you want to see next. If you have anything on the shelves back here that you want us to try, we're always open to suggestions. For right now, we're just kind of picking open bottles off the wall until we hear something from someone else. If you haven't already, go drop a follow on Twitch. We're live at the same time as we are YouTube. YouTube, you can just go back and watch the posted lives after we're already finished with it. But all that being said, I'm done yapping. I think we've both done enough yapping. Hopefully y'all did go on to enjoy. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, why drink alone?
When you can drink with us.
We'll see y'all Friday.
Hey, can I have a hug?
No.
It's my birthday and you got to. I can't pour another
Kentucky
Kentucky
enough
hug.
of your birthday.
Come on.
Enough of your birthday.
Just give me one hug.
Yeah.
One hug.
Go get your Kentucky hug.